Hello! Welcome back to Field Trip Friday. I'm Miss Madison and I'm going to be joined by Miss Chantel and Miss Emily. But before we get started, I just want to remind you to keep practicing social distancing by staying 6 feet apart and keep washing your hands. That way you can stay healthy and you can help keep other people healthy. I'm sure you're wondering where we're going today on our field trip. We'll be going to a place that's home to almost 1,000 giant head statues. We're going to Easter Island. Today, Easter Island serves as sort of like an outdoor museum where you can walk around the island and look at the giant statues. I'm going to pass it over to Miss Chantel so she can tell you all about it.
Happy Friday, everybody. Have you ever been to a museum and saw a statue in there and wondered, how did it get there? Well, in the British Museum, there is a Moai statue that is 5 tons. So I wondered to myself, how did it get there? Why was it built? What purpose did it serve? So today we are going to take a closer look at the mystery of Easter Island and the Moai statue that are there. The Moai statue weigh more than an average car. Without wheels, how did the Rapa Nui move them? There are several different theories, so we're going to take a look at some of them.
Easter Island, also called Rapa Nui, is a Polynesian island in the Pacific Ocean, more than 2,000 miles or 3,500 kilometers off the coast of Chile. It is believed that Polynesian peoples settled on the island more than 1,000 years ago and began building a thriving culture. When Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen discovered the island on Easter Sunday in 1722, he was astonished to find that the island was covered with hundreds of mysterious, giant stone heads. These huge statues are called moai, and there are nearly 900 of them on the island. They are believed to be between 500 and 750 years old, and many of them stand around the coast of the island with their backs to the sea. Most archaeologists believe that they were meant to represent the spirits of chiefs or ancestors, but there are no written records to help understand their significance or how they were made. And so archaeologists must rely on clues that were left behind and on the stories handed down from generation to generation by the people on the island. Each statue is made out of a single huge piece of stone, although some of the statues have an extra piece of stone on the top of their heads, carved into a top knot. On average, they are 13 feet or 4 meters high and weigh between 12 and 13 tons each. The largest moai ever erected, called Paro, is over 32 feet or 9.8 meters tall and weighs 82 tons. Although the statues are often referred to as heads, most of them have bodies. Some were buried in the ground up to their shoulders, and many more were tipped over. At one point, there were no unburied statues left standing at all, but now dozens of statues have been re-erected, and some have been restored to look as they did hundreds of years ago. The island is made of 3 extinct volcanoes, and a variety of volcanic materials abound which were suited to carving the gigantic statues. The main quarry is a volcanic crater called Rano, and archaeologists estimate that 95% of the statues came from here. The vast majority of the moai were carved from a material called tuff, a type of rock made from compressed volcanic ash. This type of rock is soft and easy to carve, but it is less durable than other kinds of stone, making the moai vulnerable to erosion by wind and water. Hundreds of partially finished statues surround the Ranu quarry in various stages of completion. Some appear to have been abandoned when carvers reached chunks of harder rock that they could not carve through, while others were unfinished when the people of Easter Island decided to stop all statue building. One statue at the quarry would have been the largest ever made if it had been finished, and would have been 71 feet or more than 21 meters high and weigh more than 270 tons. Archaeologists believe that the people of Easter Island transported the massive moai by rolling them on tree trunks. Now, you may have noticed that there are not many trees on Easter Island. That is because the people who lived there chopped down so many trees that one day they ran out and there were no more trees at all. Once the trees were gone, they could not move any more statues. Today, much of Easter Island is protected in Rapa Nui National Park, which is a World Heritage Site. This means that the park, which contains many of the moai as well as the Rano Raraku Quarry and other sites, are considered so interesting and important that they should be protected and preserved for people of the whole world to learn about and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed learning about the mysterious moai of Easter Island today. Goodbye till next time.
Now that's quite something to think about, isn't it? Two archaeologists, Carl Lupo and Terry Hunt, wanted to test this theory even further. What was it exactly that caused the destruction and demise of this great civilization? What they found was that it did not have anything to do with the destruction of their dense forest. However, it did have something to deal with the Europeans coming and discovering Easter Island and then transferring germs and diseases that the inhabitants were not able to fight against. So, back to the dense forest. They discovered that the dense forest was actually palm trees, or a version of palm trees that we have. Those trees were not very good for a lot of things. So they could not carve boats out of them. They could not use them. They were not very sturdy or thick to be able to transport things. So how did they move the statues? After further digging, they discovered lots of rat bones on the island, which indicated that there was an infestation, probably came over from the ships that the Polynesians traveled on. In addition to that, they also discovered the seeds from the palm trees that were gnawed on by the rats, indicating that the rat population grew so big, ate all the seeds to the palms, which kept them from being able to reseed and grow themselves. And between that and cutting down trees for farmland, the trees themselves were totally wiped off of the island. Now, the island is roughly the size of Washington, D.C., so it's still not very big, but how did they move the statue? The two of them continued their investigation, recreated a 3D image of a full-size moai statue, and actually tested out some different theories on how it moved or how they transported it across to various areas of the island. Let's take a look and see what they found out. Alright, all this talk about statues made me want to create one of my own. Alright guys, here are the supplies that you should need in order to make your bar soap sculpture. I'm going to cut my face and set it on top of the soap like this, and then I'm going to trace around it with a pencil or a pen. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that, and then I'll be back and show you what I finished when I'm done. So, using the supplies that I showed you earlier, a bar soap, a paper clip, and a pencil, I printed out my picture of what I wanted to create a statue of, and then I began my carving, and here's what I came up with, my very own moai. Now you decide what you would like to carve, choose you a bar of soap, and make one yourself. Have a great Friday, y'all.
Wow, wasn't that cool? I sure learned some new stuff. Thanks for joining us on today's Field Trip Friday. Have an idea of where we should go next week? Drop it in the comments below. Stay safe, everybody.